Hey everybody, it's Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening and Laser Engraving. Today, I'm going to be doing an engraving on a Benchmade. This is for a repeat client. He's been in before. This time he decided to mail it to me. I'm not sure why. It might have been just to save time. He asked me if it was okay if he sent the knife directly to my house, which I said yes, it's totally fine. So he sent in this Benchmade Osborne. It is a gift for somebody. And he sent me the artwork. Not hard to do. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And I think I am going to do this on the Omni1. And the reason for that is because of the size of the Osborne, which is a very, very tiny knife. There is not a lot of real estate for doing engravings on Osbornes. I'm pretty sure the last engraving he had me do was also on an Osborne. You know, guys get particular knives that they really like, and that's a lot of times what they give as gifts and share with people. I'm trying to open this with one hand, and that's not working really well. I'll just open the box, and then I'll start filming it in. Hold on. Okay, so here's the Osborne. It's a very cool looking one. It's got like a blue colored scales on here that look pretty nice. But you can see we don't have a ton of real estate here at all. And there's already the Benchmade logo and the Osborne writing on there. But there's still plenty. But my reason for the Omni is the incredible precision, and everything is super easy to read that it engraves because of that really tiny beam width. It takes a little bit longer, but it does absolutely beautiful engraving. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this on the Omni. All right, so we'll just put that away for a second. And I'm going to switch to recording on the computer, and we'll get started with working with the graphics and turning these into SVGs. I need to get some safety glasses on, especially with this UV laser, because it emits UV light all the time, even for the placement of the engraving, which I've shown before. That is the hardest thing about this machine. I think if there was one improvement that they could make to this, it would be if they could find a way so that they could give it an engraving box that didn't have to use these little acrylic sheets. Yeah, so you can see my engraving there, right? And here's the other problem. You can see when you're doing something super tiny, that is why I have this little guy right here. Because you want to be able to get in there and see where your engraving is going to be. And that needs to be shrunk down a whole bunch. So I'm back over at the computer. We are going to shrink this considerably. And let's hit frame again and see how we're doing here. And that is pretty darn close to probably what we want, right about there. Going to a whole box. All right, I'm going to bring you guys in close. So when I talked about before, I made these different size fluorescent pieces of acrylic. It's for things like this, because you can see if all you had was, this is the one that my laser came with. If this is all you had to place that engraving, that's not going to work. Okay, so you can see why you need to have some options here. One of the reasons I'm really looking forward to my new laser from X-Tool, the P3, coming in is so that I can cut lots of more pieces of acrylic like this in all different sizes for placing engravings using this UV laser. It's going to be probably one of the very first things I do when that new CO2 laser comes in. Okay, we should be recording now. The first thing we're going to start with is bringing in our artwork. So we're going to come up here to import. Here's the import. Then I just got to go find my file. There we go. Artwork. Here's artwork. Okay. And it is under exactly what it was named. It's up top here. Must be in the order of last used. Okay, so here is our two logos. They're both JPEGs, but we are going to turn these into SVGs, especially since they're all one color. They will work out much better. So I'm going to open this first one. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to Tools, and we're going to trace the image. we want to make sure that we have the little red line going all the way around everything, and it looks good. And this is a really simple image to trace. So we click OK. It actually, I had changed the settings on mine. Sometimes you have to pull away the original and delete it, but I saw there's an option in Lightburn where you can tell it to delete the original immediately, which it did, and this is already my SVG. So all I have to do is come up here and change this to fill, and there is our first SVG. So that's going to be one side of the knife. And now we're going to go and same thing. We're going to go back up to import, and we are going to bring in our other image, okay, which is this one. We're going to bring that in. So here's our other image. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to go simply up to Tools, Trace Image. Again, it looks like it got it all perfectly because this is these are very simple images. I'm going to click OK. Well, that's interesting. I don't know why I didn't delete. Let's do that again. Oh, probably because I had this already set to fill. That's why it deleted it already, but also made it a SVG. That's what happened there. If I had it set to line, or what a lot of laser programs call score, we would have seen it disappear. So it did make our SVG. So we have two SVGs that are exactly what we're looking for. Now, the only thing I need to check is my client's email because he wanted them on specific sides. There we go. Found it. I knew I printed it out, so that's good. Okay, on the left side of the blade, I would like to engrave the FU Cancer, and on logo on one side and the DEF logo on the other. Please see both files. So left side, Cancer. I'm going to put these left and right just so I keep that straight. If either logo is not enough high res, please advise. Nope, they're fine. Definitely a repeat customer. I remember him. Okay, so here we go. We have our logos. We are good to go. So next, I just need to turn on my Omni. Okay, so we're going to start with the F Cancer first. Our laser says it's ready, so that's good. I'm going to center this. Move to page center. It was practically there. I know for a fact this is going to have to come down a lot. I am going to plug in my tour box here, which is something that I like to use when I'm editing. It gives me the ability to zoom in and out on different things. There we go. There we go. Okay. And let's see. We're going to start with framing. Oh, we were using our rotary last, so you can see up top here, I got to turn this off. We don't want our rotary, right? So we're going to disable our rotary for now. And you see that green little light went off. And that's a function you can tell it to turn on. And it's a good little thing because it reminds you that, hey, your rotary's on. I'm going to grab my laser safety glasses and get my phone ready to record. So I'm back over at the computer. And we are going to shrink this considerably, and let's hit frame again. All right, so I have done these Osbornes before, and this one is like acid washed. One of the nice things about the Omni is it's pretty gentle, so it's not gonna burn really deep. It's not gonna do anything really crazy, and you can always kind of build up to what you need. Every knife reacts a little bit differently. You never know exactly what it's gonna do. But I have a setting I really like to use for knife engravings, but I watch it real closely, especially on the first couple pass, because sometimes one pass does it, and other times I need to use it a couple, multiple passes. So it's one of those things you just kind of keep an eye on, and then I usually like to jot down notes for specific knives, and then that way, if I get that same knife in again, I know what to use. All right, so here is the engraving underway. I wanted to give you the settings I used. So this was a 40 speed, a 40 frequency. The Q pulse was set at 5. This was 1,000 lines per inch. The first pass was 0 angle, and then the second pass was a negative 45 angle. And then I had it set for a third pass, which was a 0 angle. I could have stopped it after this second pass, but I did let it complete it. Here it's now doing that last pass right there. But honestly, that one wasn't even needed. We had everything we could have stopped right there, but it was fine. That's the nice thing about this cold laser technology. It really doesn't, very rarely would hurt anything or cut too deep. And then after cleaning, it just looked great. So for the second pass on this knife for the other side, I decided to get rid of that third pass. There just wasn't needed. And if you look at the writing there that says River House, this is incredibly tiny. It's way zoomed in right here, but these Osbornes are pretty tiny knives. And this is the reason I picked the Omni for this knife, because that writing is right at the top of that bevel. And I wanted it to be readable. And if I had used one of my 20-watt lasers that have a much larger beam width, you may not have been able to read that quite as well as you can with the Omni. The Omni just did a beautiful job of that. Here's another cool trick I'll show you for checking your engraving placement, is to use fluorescent powder. And that's what I'm using here to see the exact location of that writing on the bottom of this graphic. And I wanted to make sure it wasn't going into the primary bevel of the knife, and it was right at the edge. But I didn't want to shrink this graphic any smaller because it was pretty tiny to begin with. Once I was happy with the placement of the engraving and confirming it with the fluorescent powder, I just brushed it out of the way and hit start and let the engraving do its thing. And you'll see here in a second when it's finished, it came out really nice. If I had tried to do that on my fiber laser, it would have been very difficult to read that little teeny tiny river house, but it came out just perfect. One of the things I always tell you guys how much I enjoy talking to my clients, but it's also a great way to generate more business. So I was curious about who he worked for and what this whole thing was when I saw the stuff on the knife. So I looked it up and then I asked him about it when he came in. And here it's directly across the river from me. And he runs this right here, this river house, which is really cool. It's kind of a place where they will have events. And it's this beautiful house on the Potomac. Look at this place. It's just gorgeous. And it's a place for people in the defense industry, entrepreneurs, to collaborate. And I thought that was pretty cool. But they have all kinds of events and things. So I purposely brought him in my shop to show him all the different things I can engrave. And he was like, hey, this would be great. We can use like coasters and all kinds of things because we have lots of events here. So I thought that would be, important just to share that with you, why it's always important to talk to your clients. This is the second knife I've done for him. And now I see what's going on there. He works for a group of defense entrepreneurs forum, which kind of promotes collaborating in the defense industry. So very cool. Just wanted to share that with you and why you should talk to your clients, because you just never know what that's going to lead to and how it could be potential more work for you in the future. All right, everybody. So that's it. I wanted to share that with you. Hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you soon. I will leave links in the description to any of the related things that you might have seen in this video that you might be looking for, and I will talk to you all soon.